Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the NPFL's Roundtable. My name is Ken Duke. We are live from Rick's Crossroads Grill in Lincoln, Alabama, not very far from where the NPFL is going to launch its season finale on Logan Martin Lake. This is Stop 6, the season finale. We've got 15,000 surface acres out there, 275 miles of shoreline, more than 100 world-class bass anglers, but just one red, white, and blue NPFL champion trophy for the winner. This is a 3-day event. It's going to start Thursday, September 25th, so you definitely want to check in for that. Today was the second day of official practice. There's one more ahead of us, and then it's going to be off to the Derby on Thursday. Every angler in this field, and there's over 100 of them, still has a chance to qualify for the 2026 championship. The top 40 in progressive AOY points will go to the championship, plus any of the anglers who won a regular season event in 2025 will qualify for the championship. To clear up a little confusion, next week we've got our 2025 championship tournament. That's going to be made up of the guys who qualified last year. They will be fishing with forward-facing sonar. Likely the last NPFL tournament ever to allow that technology, but next week's event on Lake Hartwell is based on those 2024 qualifiers. Tonight, fantastic lineup of guests. And the first is my friend right here next to me, Derek Lehtonen. Now, Derek's from Woodruff, South Carolina, and he is an NPFL rookie. Had not fished the league before this year. Derek, I got to start with this. What's your experience been like? First year in the NPFL?
It's been amazing. It's been really good. I've really enjoyed it. It really drew me in when they went to the no scope because I really enjoy fishing, and scoping is not for me.
I hear that a lot. Yeah. Obviously, that's scoping, I think, is probably the most polemic and divisive issue in the sport, at least in my time in being involved in bass fishing, which is a long time. Another reason I know you're enjoying this season in the NPFL is, man, you are having a great year. You are a rookie in the sense that not only have you not fished the NPFL before, but you have not fished the highest levels of BASS or the highest levels of Major League Fishing or FLW. Yeah. So you're running away with that Rookie of the Year race. You're killing it.
And that's helped with it. I've had fished the Opens and many big trails, so that's kind of helped me along the way, I think, just fishing multi-day tournaments and just putting my head down and going fishing.
Well, you're really good at that. And having spoken with you about the way you go about fishing, I'm fascinated by how simple and streamlined you make the game. And let's get into that a little bit. This is one of my favorite questions, Derek, that I ask every guest on Roundtable. How would you describe your fishing style? And I'm going to take one word out of your vocabulary for your answer, and that word is versatile. I don't want to hear you say you're versatile.
I'm not very versatile.
Well, good. That'll make it easier then. How would you describe your fishing style?
Fast.
Fast. Okay, I like that. So when I hear somebody say he's a fast angler, I think, okay, he's a power fisherman.
But I do it fast but slow.
Uh-oh.
It's very, very fast what I do, but I do it. I'm not going down the bank a lot of times. It's specific spots I'm targeting, and it's multiple casts. I'm fishing very fast but very methodical in the area.
Okay, I get that. I understand where you're coming from. So let's say, for example, that you've got a pattern working and you're finding them on the deep corner pilings of docks. Mm-hmm. You're not running through there and making a cast all along the dock. You're hitting that corner piling and moving to the next one. Is that a fair assessment of fast but slow?
Yeah, that or a rock pile or just bridge corners or whatever. I might take 100 casts before I get a bite. And I'm going to keep going and going, knowing confidence. It's just confidence that they're there, and it's just whether they bite. It's a little different style. I don't like going down the bank.
Where'd you grow up fishing? Where do you get your sort of cut your teeth as a bass angler?
South Carolina. I mean, I grew up in New Hampshire. I moved out of there when I was 18. I just did pond fishing and river fishing. But tournament fishing, I didn't start until about 18 years ago.
Okay, so South Carolina, Murray, Santee Cooper.
None of those.
Hartwell.
I don't fish Murray. I don't fish Santee Cooper. I fish Murray. So.
Okay, fish Murray. Herring.
Yeah.
Big body of water, lots of stripers out there. Yeah. I grew up on the upper end of Murray, believe it or not.
Murray's a fun lake.
It is. It's a great lake. It's gone through a lot of transformations. It wasn't a herring lake when I was there as a kid. There was grass there when I was there as a kid.
There's grass there now.
It's evolved through the years, and And I can see how that can make you a pretty versatile angler. There are deep water options there. There are shallow water options there. It's a heavily pressured lake. It's Columbia's playground.
Yep.
So
There's more pleasure boaters on that lake than there is fishermen during the summer.
How did that shape you as a tournament angler?
Well, overall, I fish Hartwell and Clarks Hill, Lock, Kiwi, Jacassie, all those, Greenwood. We have a lot of lakes that some have herring, some don't. So you can be versatile in that way. You can fish super shallow and super deep. Like I was telling you the other day, I caught bass 120 feet deep.
Now that's shocking to me because that may be the deepest I've ever heard of anybody catching a bass.
Yeah, I've caught them on the bottom and 120 feet deep there. It's wild. It's not good
for them. Out of Murray?
No, out of Lake Jacassie.
Okay, yeah, Jacassie where they've got spots and all kinds of things. That's an incredibly clear, terrifically deep body of water. I'm guessing the 120 feet deep fish were spots.
Yep, and then you can catch them at 60, 70 feet all the time in the wintertime. In every lake, all the lakes.
Yeah.
That's weird. They get deep there.
That's shocking because, I think of the thermocline and I think of very little oxygen being down in that lower layer, but
it's only in the wintertime.
Fish there.
It's only during the wintertime.
When the oxygen is not an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Still amazing. But you have, despite the fact that these bodies of waters we're talking about are finesse havens for a lot of people who like to throw a drop shot or a shaky head.
Yep.
That ain't your style.
No. I mean, I've done it before, but that's not my style. I'm a creek fisherman, and I like deep cranking too, but I'm not out there dragging a worm around much. It's either fast moving. It's some version of a crankbait most of the time.
Okay, cool. I like that because, I look at the bodies of water you fish, and certainly crankbaits play in all those bodies of water you mentioned. And I'm looking at your track record this year in the NPFL, 37th at Santee, 49th at Norman, 33rd at Douglas, 21st at Eufaula. Great finish under some very tough conditions. And then the one kind of bad tournament you had all year was the St. Lawrence River, where you were 73rd.
Yep.
And I was having this conversation with you before you ever fished that derby. You said you were not going to make that run out to Lake Ontario,
nope.
and where pretty much everybody knew that tournament would be won.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to be won there, but I was playing it safe. I was catching 22 to 24 pounds in practice in the river, so it was like, I'm not making that run. I was trying to just play it safe. I wasn't trying to win. I was just trying to play it safe.
And if you're catching 22 or 24 without going out that far and running the risk of having trouble getting back and so forth, why would you make the run? But those fish...
the river gets pressured, and they don't handle pressure very well. And my fish seem to move the areas where I was. And as the day progressed, actually me and my son went back out after the tournament. The sad thing is, I found them again.
Well, that's the way of course you would.
It was just, and they moved a little bit, and I wouldn't move with them. Me and my son went out. We literally after the tournament, we caught 22 pounds in 2 hours.
Well, I wasn't trying to make you feel bad about your decision at the St. Lawrence. I was not trying to do that because you still caught them.
Yeah.
It's not like you didn't catch fish. You just didn't catch fish, the same fish that the guys who finished at the top caught. But I mentioned that only because I look at the terrific season you've had this year, and I think about you could be 15 places higher in the standings had you made that run on the St. Lawrence, which is a daunting run.
It's a 2-hour run. And truthfully, my body, I can't handle that long run. My knees and my back, I can't do it. I might not be that old, but I've been in construction all my life. My knees don't feel good, that throttle to 2 hours. I couldn't. If I had a hand throttle, it'd be no problem. But the hot foot, I can't do it. My leg won't let me.
Oh, well, I'm glad you didn't make the run. I'm glad you didn't put yourself through the physical punishment of that because you're still going to run away with Rookie of the Year honors this year, which I think is very impressive when you consider that there's a dozen rookies out there who are all very talented anglers. One of them even won a tournament this year.
Yep.
Chad Marler won the Eufaula tournament. He's a rookie, very accomplished angler. But, man, you are killing the rookie field and doing super well among some of the very finest anglers on the planet.
Yeah, and like I said, you're not fishing against anglers. It don't matter who it is. I've told you this before. You're fishing against the fish.
Yeah, but...
But nothing. You're not fishing against people.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to bring them to the scales. And you're going to be compared to Patrick Walters and Kyle Welcher and Greg Hackney and Gerald Swindle and
They're just people. Good people.
Yes, they are. But I'm saying you're fishing against the fish. You gotta put fish in the boat.
Yeah.
That does not involve Gerald Swindle is not trying to knock your crankbait out of the air after you cast it.
And he ain't putting a fish in my live well, so it's not up to them.
But you're still being compared to those guys, and you're doing really well.
Yeah. And I enjoy it.
You're doing really well.
And I've enjoyed it.
Let's talk a little bit about your approach to this tournament. We're here at Logan Martin.
Mm-hmm.
A tremendous facility, folks, by the way. For the first time, I checked out Lincoln's Landing here in Lincoln, Alabama.
It's great. Best place I've ever seen.
Phenomenal facility. If anybody wants to do, if you want to camp out, my gosh, right next to it, there's an amazing campground with these beautiful new cabins that are coming up there.
Yeah.
Amazing facility, great place. How are you approaching the season finale here? Is it, since you pretty well locked up Rookie of the Year, you're in a terrific shape for qualifying for the 2026 championship. What's your perspective going in? What do you need to accomplish?
Well, I'd like to cash a check, as always, but my goal is to truly catch a limit in every tournament this year. That's my biggest goal.
And you're one of about 15 guys who's done it so far.
Hopefully I catch a limit, decent ones, and my biggest thing is trying to cash a check too. I mean, it's always good to cash a check.
And you've done that in 3 of 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And, let's talk about catching a limit every day, because I think that's an amazing standard that not a lot of people pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you cannot catch 5 fish a day at this level, you're going to struggle.
You are. You have to catch 5 fish. It don't matter. Once you get 5 in the box, your mind starts changing.
And you can catch 4 once in a while.
Yeah.
But if you're not averaging about 4.5, 4.6 fish a day, then you can't compete at a high level.
You never will.
And this year, in NPFL history, no one has ever brought a limit to the scales every day.
Yeah.
This year, 15 guys are in a position to do that, including Derek Lehtonen. It's not all about the fact that the field has gotten stronger. A big part of it is simply the schedule and the timing of things.
Yeah.
Because the field last year was also extremely strong. The year before it was good. But it has gotten better every year. And because the schedule plays out well, because the weather is somewhat cooperative, because you don't have a wicked cold front at the wrong time of year.
I wish we had a cold front on this one, though. It got too hot too quick. Too long.
It's not very cool here. We had temperatures maybe in the low 90s that we're expecting and stuff like that. But I'm hearing that the fishing is good.
It is. You catch a lot of fish. It's just catching the size is very difficult.
Now, okay, let's get into that a little bit, because you've now knocked out 2 practice days on Logan Martin. How well did you know the lake before you got here for this tournament?
I mean, I was here in the springtime. I ran the lake a lot, and I fished a lot of nothing the same though, I guess, because then it was a spring, early summer, so they were doing a lot more things. The spots were spawning on the humps, shad were spawning, so it was a totally different fishery, and the fish were biting good. But this time they're in transition. Between 2 weeks ago it was cooler, so they started moving that fall. Then the water's 85 degrees again, so they stopped. And if we could get it cool, they'll start doing their fall stuff. And right now they shut down. And you catch a lot of fish, but catching the good ones.
So you don't think a limit's going to be a problem?
A limit's not going to be a problem. Shouldn't be. I say that, but
yeah, don't jinx yourself, man. That would be a bad plan. Okay, now 2 practice days in. As a guy who's a veteran of a lot of multiple-day tournaments, a lot of 3-day tournaments, what are your goals after 2 days of practice? Where do you want to be?
Well, I haven't 100% decided which way I'm going yet. I got one more thing I want to check before I really decide, and if it works out, that's where I'll go. But if not, I got areas all around the whole lake where I can go catch fish. It's just, and it depends on the sun, clouds, depends on all that too. So usually I do better when it's sunny.
We're also looking at the potential of having a rainy day on Thursday. That's the extended forecast right now.
Yeah.
Potentially some rain on Thursday. You've been fishing in the sun so far in practice. It's
all
been
week.
Sunny and clear all week. Do you feel like you know what to do if it rains?
Well, usually they'll react to the top water bite a lot better, or buzzbait, but I'm not a big-time thrower of the whopper plopper and buzzbait and all, but it's just I'll put it in my hand.
Not only that, I hate to rat you out, Derek Lehtonen, but I'm going to rat you out right now.
Uh-oh.
Before we started the show tonight, he said he doesn't like topwater fishing.
Hate it.
How dare you, sir?
I hate it. I lose more fish on a topwater plug, I think, than anything.
How is it possible to hate topwater fishing?
It's just...
How can you do that?
I mean, yeah, it's great seeing a fish blow up on a bait, but it's just not something... I get frustrated with it. I get frustrated. Coming from herring lakes, you'd think you'd love topwater.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Pencil poppers this big.
Yep. I just hate it. I just don't know why. It's just because I hate watching those fish blow up.
Did you hate it even before you were a tournament angler?
No, I used to throw it a lot. I used to be one of those guys that was offshore all the time. That's all I ever did, and I just got so sick of doing it.
Okay.
I just got sick of doing it.
I'm going to forgive you, although I'm not sure the audience will forgive you for hating topwater fishing.
Yeah.
That's un-American. Yeah. You're going to need to give him a hard time because he's the first guy I've ever heard say he hated topwater fishing. Yep. The first.
Yep. It's just not something. I enjoy the blow-ups, but I just don't like to do it in tournaments.
I'm trying to understand. Yep. I'm working on it. I'm trying
hard-headed.
to digest that.
I'm hard-headed.
Okay, that's great because this is going to transition us into your style of fishing again, fishing fast but slow.
Yeah.
And when we've talked about your style in the past, you really have it boiled down and narrowed down to just a few baits and methods that you stick with in competition.
Yep.
Share that with us if you would.
Well, like I was telling you when we did our show the other day, it was jig, a Z-craw, and a crankbait of some sort. That's mainly what I'll throw. I'll mix in a drop shot and a shaky head here and there too, but that's what I like to throw. It's some form of crankbait. I'd say 80% of my fishing is some form of crankbait. Don't matter what time of year it is.
And I think you're originally from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And you've lived in South Carolina basically your whole adult life.
20 years.
And I think of guys who default to a crankbait as either being from Tennessee or North Carolina.
Yeah. South Carolina, it works phenomenal.
There you go. I think of South Carolina guys as being really versatile.
Yeah.
Because you got places that are swamps like Santee Cooper, and you got deep clear water like Hartwell, Jocassee, Kiowee, even Murray is a deep clear lake.
Yeah.
All right, so that crankbait is 80% of your tournament game. I'm so excited to bring Derek Lehtonen into this element too. We just kicked it off yesterday, Derek. I call it MVB, stands for Most Valuable Bait. Have you got a bait that has been your most valuable bait in 2025? Folks, if you can see that, tell us what it is.
It's a Bandit 100. I shouldn't be telling you guys all this because this is what I do a lot of my damage on, even at home. It's taco salad color. I buy them by the buttloads, 30, 40 of them at a time, and I catch a lot of my fish on them. And people at home know this. A lot of my buddies, they all know this is what I do.
Sure.
But for them to duplicate, a lot of them don't know where they do it. So it's just what I throw. And it's a cheap bait, still $7.49 for the crankbait, so it's affordable, and they catch fish, a lot of fish.
There you go.
You know.
Bandit 100. Now, this is a pretty gaudy color.
Yep.
This is like a lime green on top, chartreuse on the bottom.
Yep.
A little orange on the belly there in the throat.
Yep.
What is it about this color that you like so much?
It's just a reaction. I will say, though, they do not eat that in clouds very well.
They do not eat where?
In clouds, when it's cloud cover.
Okay, cloudy.
They won't eat it as good as they do when it's sunny.
Okay, do you go to a
more
quieter...
white? You throw more white when it's cloudy.
See, I'm writing this down because even though I live in Florida where crankbaits go to get mired in weeds, I'm gonna give Derek's methods a try. Now, this particular bait is designed to run, it says 2 to 5 feet.
Yeah. And that's about what it runs.
Are you using this around boat docks? Are you using it on rocks? Are you using it around wood?
Everything. It don't matter. They throw it on there. I'll throw it around grass too if there's open areas of grass or it doesn't get down and if it ticks the top of the grass.
We talked about I'm going to throw this around shell beds because I got to believe it'll do it around shell beds.
I've caught them in Florida on that.
Okay, let's talk about your setup, about your rod, reel, line for this bait.
I typically throw it on a 7-foot rod, medium heavy. The reason why I like a shorter, a little bit stiffer, because you get a little bit more whip and more accuracy with it. I lose a lot of fish because I'm throwing it on a stiffer rod, not an actual cranking rod. But you have a lot more whip where you can get it into places a little better. You know, I like a short rod with it, nothing really long, because it's a square bill.
Yeah, it's a square bill, so I'm assuming that you're usually trying to keep it in contact with stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever's out there, if it's wood, you want it bouncing off the
Yeah.
limbs. If it's rock, you want it digging into the rock a little bit.
And that's why I throw it stiffer rod a little bit too, just because of the casting accuracy with a little stiffer rod is a lot better.
Okay.
Than a glass rod for me. But if it's open water, it's a different story.
And you're using this bait to cover water, or you're using this bait because you've already found out they want this bait?
Both. I find that's a searching tool. I find I'll catch it just catches fish. It just catches fish. It's just
unbelievably, it really is called taco salad this color. I've never, if I saw a taco salad this color, I would not eat it.
Yeah. And I do throw it on an 8.3 reel too.
Oh, so you're working it fast.
I'm working
You're
it
humming.
fast. I'm burning it. It's not slow.
At 8 to 3, show me.
Yeah, I'm
Show me how
burning it.
fast.
I'll stop it. I'm just burning it as fast a lot of times as fast as you can.
Wow.
It's all for the reaction. It's nothing other than reaction.
This is a great tip. I'm learning from the MVB series, folks, because these guys are the best in the world, and it's amazing. I'll ask them. I thought it was a tough question. I said, "Bring me your most valuable bait of the year." Everybody says, "Oh, no problem."
Yeah.
And you're the first guy. Of course, we've only done this 2 days now, but you're the first guy to bring a crankbait out. So
Well, that's what I like to do. And it just have so much confidence in that crankbait. It don't matter if the water's crystal clear. I've caught them on it too. So it just catches fish. It's just reaction.
All right. So your default retrieve. Is your default retrieve burning it, or is your default retrieve to slow down, stop and go?
The colder the water gets, a lot of times I'm creeping it. But the hotter it is, I'm putting a lot of pauses in it.
Okay.
Burning it and pausing it. It's
Gotcha.
not just like I'm burning it just nonstop. I'm putting a lot of pauses in it too.
And are you mostly focusing on water less than the depth of this thing dives?
Yep.
Okay, so for a 2 to 5, you're fishing a lot of water that's
I'm
surface to 4.
Yeah, surface to 4. Then I'll go to the 200. If my boat's sitting in 10 foot, I'm throwing the 200. If I'm sitting in 6 foot, I'm throwing the 100.
Okay, gotcha.
That's basically what I'm concentrating on.
Any special tips? What does the guy see? Everybody's got a million square bills, because I got a million square bills.
I do
live
too.
in Florida, and I don't throw a square bill much. But what does the average guy do wrong when he's throwing a bait like this?
Confident. They don't have the confidence. That's pretty much all crankbait is. It's confidence, knowing in their own retrieves. You know, I'll throw a flat side in the wintertime, but I'll throw this in the wintertime too. But I'll switch it up a little bit in the wintertime, throw Little Johns or Shad Raps or whatever. But
there's something about this Bandit you like better. What is special about the Bandit?
it's cheap. They don't break. And you can, if you get them hung in a brush pile, you're not spending $18 on it. You can break it off and tie another one on.
Well, we need to get the folks at Pradco to sponsor you.
I would love to. I've called them. I just bought 40 of them last week.
They need to be shipping them to you by the gross. And is this your absolute favorite color, taco salad?
I don't have any other ones. I've tried every other color in the book, and I can't catch them on it like that. I've caught them on root beer in the crawdad color, the red one, occasionally, but I still throw that in dead winter.
Now that's amazing to me, because I would have thought that maybe this is just a great search color or something, but this is your go-to.
Yep. Ask anybody at home, and everybody at home knows that's what I throw.
And do you do anything to modify the bait, or just out of the package onto your line?
On the pack, onto the line.
Looks like it's got some good hooks.
They got good hooks, but they do bend, as any hooks. But I am 15 to 17 pound test. I horse my fish a lot. That's why I lose them. You know.
Well, this is very enlightening, sir.
Mm-hmm. Try it. I mean, people know, even at home. Just people know, understand it, and they know I catch a lot of fish. My boys, they throw a lot. I was going to say, there's one pond I fished at home by the house. That's what got me onto that bait.
Did I mention to you that when you bring your most valuable bait to the show, that it becomes my property?
Hey, it's all yours.
No, I can't do that. I'll be joking.
I got
about
30 of them in the truck.
No, you might need this one. I'm putting some.
No, you take it.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I was joking. I was just making a joke.
Take it. You're going to go fishing.
Thank you, Derek. I'll use this. This is awesome. But if you run out,
I'll call you.
Call me, because I got one now.
I got about 50 in the boat, so.
I got one now. All right, last question for you, sir. We know it's tough out there, and Logan Martin is not known for producing giant weights. If I could magically award you 15 pounds a day, would you take it, or would you launch your boat and go after
100%. I'd go home with a winning check.
With 45? You think 45 pounds will win?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I hope you get 46.
I hope so. But I got to say a big shout-out to A&A, my title sponsor this year, Alliance North America. They have stepped up and helped me out. They're a generator compressor company out of Las Vegas, and they sell to the rental companies. So check them out. And
one more time with the name?
A&A.
A&A.
That's short for Alliance North America.
Alliance North America Generators. Folks, if you've got a need for that, check them out. They're supporting one of the best anglers in the business right here in Derek Lehtonen. Brother, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming on Roundtable.
And a big shout-out to Palmetto Boats, too. So
there you go.
They helped me out, too. Thank you. Bye.
Takes a lot of help to get these guys on the water and keep them in the fish. And got a special guest coming up for you here, a special local guest. We got another special guest coming up in just a minute. But I want to invite Rick Seal to join us here. Rick, put this headset on if you would, sir. Get that microphone close to your mouth there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my new friend, because I just met him, Rick Seal. He is the founder of Rick's Crossroads Grill. No longer the owner. He's retired. Misty Joyner is now running the show. She used to be your head chef.
Exactly.
But, man, you came in with that Humminbird cap on, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Nobody had to give you a Humminbird cap.
No.
The man's got his own bass boat. He fishes the occasional tournament. He takes his bass fishing seriously.
Absolutely. I really enjoy it. And I live right here in Lincoln, so Logan Martin, my home lake.
There you go. Now Rick's Crossroads Cafe is what, about 15 years old?
That's right.
Did I do the math?
Yep.
And you retired just a few years ago.
Yes, sir.
And now you fish all the time, I hope.
Well, I cut grass, too, and take orders from the wife.
I get it.
But we all do.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, talk to me about your fishing. What got you into it?
Oh, well, I'm from Louisiana originally, and I've fished all my life. A lot of saltwater fishing. Saltwater fishing will spoil you.
The taste alone will get you.
It will spoil you. But we moved here, and, I mean, I'm right here at Logan Martin, and then with the new landing, which is unbelievable.
It is. It's as good as I've seen for tournament circuits, you know.
It is.
Infinite parking, a ramp that'll handle 10 launching boats at one time. It's crazy.
It is. It's got to be one of the finest in the country, I think.
And I'm guessing you're less than 10 minutes from there.
Oh, yeah. I'm 10 minutes. I can get up and get there in a hurry.
Well, your experience on Logan Martin, your experience in the world of tournament bass fishing, you know what Logan Martin's doing right now. What will it take to win this tournament 3 days?
Well, they just had a big tournament 3 days ago, and 15-4 won it. And they had about 110 boats. So, I mean, they had some good fishermen.
I'm sure there's some real talent in there.
And, I think 3 days of fishing probably going to need probably 50 pounds, 45, 50 pounds.
And, of course, that tournament was allowing things like forward-facing sonar, which is prohibited in this tournament with the NPFL.
Right.
So that makes it a little bit tougher for these anglers.
Well, these guys are good, though.
Oh, hey, you got a guy who won a Bassmaster Classic on this lake 30 years ago in David Fritz.
They're not coming out here and going to get beat up. They'll catch fish.
Yeah, the fish do not get a day off this week. They're going to be
the turbines are not running until later on in the afternoon, so that it kind of throws a little curveball, but they'll figure it out. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, that power generation schedule becomes so important. You get a little current, the fish get a little more active, the bait fish move. That's a good thing.
Well, we're going to get. I was looking at the weather today. We're going to get a little cold front come through Friday. Could get a little rain Thursday.
Yeah.
So it could change things totally from what it is today.
All right, Rick, I got 2 tips I need from you right now. One's a fishing tip, one's a eating tip.
Okay.
The fishing tip I'm looking for you is if you had to go out there and you were only able to throw one bait for the days of the tournament, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you had to go with just one bait, what would it be?
I'd throw the Rapala Crush Mayor, 3.5.
Okay.
That's what I'd throw.
Gotcha.
Little swim bait.
The Crush City Mayor, little swim bait.
I've caught a lot of fish on that.
All right, now this one is that was a great one. That was a great fishing trip. That was solid. But now for the folks who come here to Rick's Crossroads Grill in Lincoln, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to recommend on the menu? I don't want them to run out, but still give them a good recommendation.
It is so hard. Being from Louisiana, I'm a little biased toward the gumbo and the red beans and rice and the po' boy sandwiches, but the steaks and the prime rib are as good as I've eaten anywhere. And I know, like I say, I'm a little biased, but I'm telling you the truth. They are good.
I believe it. And the man knows. He's been here a long time. He's fished Logan Martin a long time. So look out for that Crush City swim bait and come here and pick up some of the Cajun stuff or a steak. I don't think you can go wrong. I've gotten to see some of the food since I got here earlier today. Very impressive place. Rick Seal, thank you very much, sir,
for joining us on the Roundtable. I appreciate y'all being in town, too.
We're going to pass that along, and let me get these other gentlemen up here who are supposed to be on our show. Let's get them both up here. They've seen each other now. JT Russell, put this on if you would, sir. I was planning to surprise you tonight.
Surprise me.
Surprise you. And Brad Fuller, president of the NPFL, the hardest working man in fishing, has got to set us all up on everything. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about, we'll pass this down to Mr. Swindle. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us.
Man.
I was just telling JT that I was planning on surprising him. Let me give you all a little background here. I was talking to JT just last week. We were doing an interview, updating his angler profile, and I said, "Who's your fishing hero?" And he said, "Oh, Gerald Swindle." and I thought, well, honestly, that's a question. That's an answer I hear a lot. Okay.
That's extremely flattering.
Isn't that? It's got to be humbling.
Very, very humbling because, as a kid growing up, I had my fishing heroes, but I never thought I'd be somebody's.
Oh, well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But anyway, so he says Gerald Swindle. And I thought, well, shoot, I'm going to see if G will come on the show and we'll surprise JT. But then I saw you guys kind of met out there.
I was here 10 minutes early.
I
first time ever.
I appreciate it. But JT, I didn't know how well you guys maybe knew each other. Were you all tight?
Not really,
no.
no.
I mean, I've seen him around, but we don't get to hang out and deer hunt.
Well, I don't know if we're going to change that through this meeting, but Gerald, this is a man who truly treasures you as a role model.
Man, and that's it's very rare. Without getting in too deep, you don't see that much from the younger generation anymore. When I got into fishing, I looked at Denny Breyer like he was a mountain. You know what I mean? When I first stood in the weigh-in line by him, I'm like, man, this is the legend of Doc Skipping, and you had such a respect for those guys. But that's something. It's flattering coming from him for being a young man, because it's something that's kind of just went away in fishing, because most of the young anglers in today are so good at scope and they're so advanced and they win so fast, they really don't have to have a hero. There's nothing to look up to.
I get that, but I still hear a lot of it, and that's a question I like to ask guys. Especially the young guys. I like to ask them, who's your fishing hero? And let me say that I don't think, and you guys know all the greats. You mentioned Brower. There's Clunn. There's Kevin Van Dam. There's Bill Dance. The Hibdons. Yep. There's so many guys you can point to and say, I want to be like that guy. I want to fish like that guy. And your name comes up as often as anybody.
That's crazy. But when I first got into it, Ken, the only way I seen those people was in the magazines.
Yeah.
And on a Sunday TV show. So now you have social media, you have so many more tournaments. A lot of people. So when I first went out there, I had never seen Guido Hidman in person or Peter Tederaveris. I didn't know how big Peter T was. And you walk up
to him. He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. But it was so at awe, because when you're looking at it as a kid from a small town, you think it's almost like everything's a fantasy until you stand there and you see how they work, and you're like, oh, they're real. And then when they finally speak to you, you're just like, oh, man, Bernie Shorts talked to me in a way. And like that, as a kid, when you first start, and that's a big deal.
It's even a big deal to me as a guy who writes about the sport and talks about the sport. It's a big deal. I can remember meeting the guys who were idols to me when I was young, like Rick Clunn. I still get nervous talking to Rick Clunn.
Yep.
But anyway, I wanted to say that, yeah, I get when somebody will ask me or I'll ask them who their hero is, I hear Gerald Swindle's name as often as anybody. But I will just to settle you down a little bit. The wives want to meet Byron Velvick. Just so you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. or Riley Green. That's what I get. Everybody knows that I'm friends with Riley Green. So every girlfriend that my wife has or anybody comes over goes, "When's Riley Green coming back over?" And I'm like, "Well, he's not."
So you're the role model, but Byron's the one the wives want to meet.
Oh, absolutely. So there you go. It's that's a flattering field, and I've always took, like in fishing, winning an early AOY through BASS, I took that very serious, that all of a sudden I had to grow up. Because up until that point, fishing was just I was so broke, I just wanted to make money. That was it. And when I was making money, I was happy. This is what I was going to do for a living. And then you win AOY, and you realize something you have to live up to. And you were there then. You knew that you got to grow up. There's no more jacklegging around on the water. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to take that role model serious. And I did. And even into 2016, and my wife has always encouraged me to be a leader. No matter how bad a day you have, remember, there could be somebody that inspires to be what you are or chase your dream. So don't be out there, being negative or something like that. And that's hard shoes to fill when you really don't know how to fill them. When you win AOY, you stand there with a trophy and everything's going good, and you're like, what do I do now? Yeah. And then it's time to grow up. It's time to do right.
A lot of guys don't have an answer for that. Well, JT Russell, I did not ask Gerald to join us just so I could make our conversation everything. I want to talk about you too, because you're an Alabama guy.
Yeah.
Like Gerald. And I want to learn about you. We want to get into
he's the future of the sport. This is the future. This age group is the future of the sport for sure, because they're natural fishermen, they're electronic savvy, but they're grinders, and that's what I think so neat to have in this missing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where me and Joe got started. He probably doesn't even realize it, but they used to have a Marks Outdoors tournament in Birmingham, Alabama on Lay Lake. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and they had a 500 boat fishing tournament, one pond down from where we were fishing, and I actually caught the big fish the whole tournament, 6 years old, swimming a jig with my dad, and he was the MC for the weigh, and I got a picture at our house.
That's fantastic.
That's old school. That's back when Marks they used to do a fabulous job, man. Used to stock the lake. They cut it off at 500 boats.
500 boats. That's insane.
So you fishing with your dad. That's the cool part.
Lay is like 12,000 acres.
Oh, my God. It was like Talladega boats with mud tires. It was just people all over people.
Ripping and rolling. It was a nightmare.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
But I love it. That's where it all started. So.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's so cool. So you got a picture with a man when you were 6, 7 years old.
Caught big fish out of all those men.
Out of all those guys, little big guy.
That's impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
And now you're competing against him head to head.
And beating him regular.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not yet, but he's working on it. No, look out next year, man.
No, these guys are tough, man. I think this age group, the man I'm sitting by here, these are some of the best fishermen that come through. You know what I mean?
And you're to be credited with some of that, because one of the phrases I love was, I'm trying to remember who said it first, but he said, if I have seen further than others, it is because I've been standing on the shoulders of giants.
Right.
And guys like Gerald Swindle and Kevin Van Dam and Bill Dance and Roland Martin and Hank Parker, they're the giants whose shoulders you guys stand on. And it's cool that you look up to that. Now, when you're looking up to a guy like Gerald, are you looking up to him because you enjoy the personality, but is it also an issue with fishing style?
Well, if he's swimming a jig, we got to have something in common.
But you do that by law in Alabama.
Right.
If you're born in Alabama,
if you're born in Alabama, and you got to have the Alabama shake too. It ain't just swimming a jig. If you're not from Alabama, you'll just reel it. But if you're from Alabama, you got that shake. Everything's shaking.
Yeah, if you're left-handed and sore by the end of the day, you weren't doing it right.
Right.
Well, what is your go-to technique, JT?
Swimming a jig, all over the country. I've been a lot of places, probably not as many as him, but that's number one for whatever reason whenever I get there.
I meant to reach out to you and ask you to bring what was I call it MVB. That's a segment I'm trying to put into the show here where a guy brings out the bait that's kind of, if there's been one bait, the bait that's kind of been key to him this year. What would it be for you?
Probably just a dirty jig, swim jig. I mean, color
Okay,
always
no
varies.
jack, right?
No jack.
No
yeah,
jack,
the
swim
other
jig.
hook ain't going to work. Whenever you set the hook.
Don't say that. They got to sell some of those too.
You got to have the big hook.
But okay, is there a color that's been key for you?
I mean, I always just try to mix it up. White, black, and blue brim color, just staple colors. Just
Look at the watercolor.
Yep.
Look at the cover. Figure out what you're trying to emulate.
throw them all and see whatever works best. Keep it going.
But what's cool, though, is again, this format with the NPFL and no FFS, a man like this who's, he just told a story catching big fish with his dad when he's 6. So he's been working on the art of swimming a jig. Everybody swims a jig, but then there's masters of the art. And this young man would be one of them. So that skill he's learned, he can bring to these tournament formats and know that if he puts his head down and grind, if he gets the right 5 or 6 bites and he fishes clean, he can have a chance to win. That's what I love about it when you take out the FFS, is because that skill that he's worked on, he's still rewarded. Like, it's still his, and it shows. Everybody has their strength, and in this format, they get to play their strength.
Now, as a swim jig guy, I'm guessing one of the things you're wanting to do with a swim jig is cover a lot of water.
That's right.
You're sitting next to the king of covering water.
Right.
The king of, and I always thought this term is awkward, but it does work. It's junk fishing, fishing whatever's in front of you. I always consider myself to be a junk fisherman.
Yep.
Bunch of rods on the deck, figure out what it needs, and nobody does it better than Gerald Swindle. Are you also? Is that also your style?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're at the perfect setup this week. You got Logan Martin. You got the river, mid-lake, down in the lake. It's junk fishing capital of the state, if you ask me. I mean, you can, any way you want to go at it, there's a chance to win, in my opinion.
Every target you come by, you try to fish effective. If he's, for me, if I'm swimming a jig down some broken rock or something and I come by a dock, I can reach down, grab a different jig, skip up under there. If I come hit a retaining wall and I want to pick up a buzz bait, I can. But, like, fishing those targets effectively, to me, is the key to junk fishing. Not just whaling stuff out there, but, like, hey, here's my best 4 or 5 baits. I'm going to use a real moderate pace, but be in control of the day. And if I see the right target, I need to execute. Maybe if you only pick your spinning rod up 10 casts, but you catch a 3-pounder, that's, to me, is the epitome of a junk fisherman. See the target, execute, get it happen.
I love that, and thank you for bringing up, because you mentioned 4 or 5 baits. When I've walked past Gerald Swindle's boat in practice, I don't see 4 or 5 rods. I see
a lot.
I think you told me one time you never have 13 out. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't like 13 out.
It's never 13.
Even though I'm sponsored by 13, I don't like 13 out. But I do think practice, for me, practice is what is called practice. And I love to do the variety thing. I don't know, to me, okay, so I get a couple of bites on this. I know they'll bite that. I'm the world's worst at just fishing around that with different baits just in case condition changes. I know what to back it up with. So a lot of times those rods are there, but just simply to either rule out something or rule it all the way in.
Okay, so in practice, I might see 12 rods on Gerald's deck. I might see 18, but it's going to be a lot. By the time you launch on day 1, how many do you want on your
I want it
deck?
down to 6.
6, okay. JT, practice. How many rods are you likely to have out there?
Man, there's probably 20 right now, and there'll probably be 20 in the tournament, too. It's going to look like a tornado went off, but hopefully we pull it all together.
Is that good, or does that mean you didn't get dialed in like you wanted to?
Hey, we catch one that counts on every rod, we'll be all right by the end of the week.
I hear you.
I think this place is changing a little bit to me every day. Whether the water come down at 1 inch last night, that doesn't seem like much, but it felt like a lot today by why the fish reacted. So it took me going through a rotation of rods probably to 11 o'clock before I figured out, hey, this is what's going on. Like that, to me, that's the funnest part of it, though. The moment of discovery in bass fishing is what I live for. The moment of discovery. All the other stuff on stage, the highlights, that's fun. That's an adrenaline. But that moment of discovery, when I make that cast and I repeat it, catch them, and I turn and look and say, I got their ass. I know what they're doing. That's what I live for. That's where all that juice starts flowing, because you're like a kid. And if somebody told me where those fish were and I went and done that, I don't get the same rush. But it's something about that magical moment when you know, and you know what I'm talking about.
When you
get that right bite, and you're like, uh-oh, they got troubles. I think that's what pushes us. Even at my age, being out there daylight to dark, I'm pushed to find that feeling wherever it's at. And that's something that's hard to explain to people, how that feels when you do it yourself. I've had people ask me before, hey, man, can you tell me where some fish are at Guntersville? I'd love to, but I'm going to deprive you of the art of discovery.
That's a nice way of saying you're not working.
Right, but I'm like, if I tell you where they're at and you go catch them, you're not going to have the same feeling as you do if you go work a little bit and then you catch them.
That shows me a real appreciation, because even if you're as successful as this man, 2 Bassmaster AOY titles, 20 Bassmaster Classic appearances, he still realizes that there are no givens out there.
No.
That's right. You earn it yourself. You always appreciate it twice as much.
And you can always fail. I think the thing that's pushed me through fishing is you're almost guaranteed to fail at some level every year.
No doubt.
You've covered this sport more than any man alive. You've seen the highs and lows from the greatest. You've seen every one of us be on the highest roll where we couldn't do nothing wrong. And then you've seen us do the same thing when we couldn't do nothing right. It's coming. Like, those lows are coming, but being able to control that emotion, balance it, and then work off of it. Don't let them highs be too high. That was one thing. If I ever could look back at someone his age and sit down, I don't know what I'd give as fishing advice, but as a personal human advice, I would always say, do not let your lows be too low. Don't let them control you. And it's just a day. Don't let it ruin the year. And then don't let your highs be too high. Because I see guys that have just a little bit of success, and the next thing you know, they got them a KVD jersey on. No, it's just temporary. This is temporary. Tomorrow there's another tournament.
I assure you that's amazingly great advice, but I'll tell you what, it's hard advice to follow.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Because when things are going your way, sometimes you could just watch people. I'm like, that's what spooks me, is that it's going to come down. Yeah. Van Dam had the longest run in this sport that you and I will ever witness.
No
ever.
question.
And I'm like, and it came down. It didn't tumble.
No.
But he's human. So that's what you want to tell young kids is, hey, dude, just stay balanced. And if you have a bad day, wash it off. It ain't no big deal. It will not define you. It will not. Now, people will remember when you lose how you act more than they will how you act when you win. That's the weird part.
That's very true. All right, JT, what is it that obviously your family was into the sport because they've got you out there on the stage with Gerald Swindle when you're 6 years old. But what is it about bass fishing that captivates you?
Just the tournament drive. I love tournament bass fishing. I was introduced to it at a young age, and fishing all these Coos River lakes my whole life. And, just getting up and fishing with the tournament and then having all your buddies there at the weigh-in, hanging out afterwards, it's always been something that's driven me. And then, the college fishing for University of Montevallo for 4 years,
Yeah, one of the stoutest college fishing teams in the country.
They're good, and I don't know.
Well, hey, you gave them that reputation.
Hopefully, I don't know about that, but I was there and I went all over the country. Big thanks to them. But the tournament fishing is just what I love. Tournament fishing, wouldn't trade it for nothing.
So you're a competition addict.
Absolutely.
I think that drives a lot of people.
Yeah, and another reason that I've always looked at Gerald because he comes from the same background I done. I come from small town McCalla, Alabama. Construction work with my dad my whole life. Now we run a junkyard selling car parts. Just hard manual work, and then it makes you want it more. Rather than somebody that just hands it to you on a silver platter. But
think of the appreciation's there.
Whenever you go out there and work in those August and July days, you want it bad.
You pull in them car parts, and you're like, listen, next time I get a bite, dude, it was the fire that lit me.
Yeah,
was the manual labor behind the scene, and not necessarily hating it, just knew that I didn't want to do that. I respected all my family because that's what they done. They were great at it, but I was the guy that's like, I want to break out. I want to do something different. So that's really cool to hear his story that Mom and Daddy just didn't say, here it is.
Yeah.
They said, hey, if you want it, go get it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Somehow I'm going to get it. I don't know how, but we're going to get it somehow.
That's all that matters. I think when people come out here, and Ken's probably heard it 100 times, people's got this great game plan of what they're going to do. There's no game plan here. You just got to want it. You got to want it because what's going to happen in fishing changes like this on the water, off the water, it's just if you want it, you will find a way to get it.
That brings up an interesting point, and both you guys are in touch with it. But I don't know anybody who has succeeded at this sport without making significant sacrifice of some kind.
more so than you've seen it. I'll give some, throw some names out. Louis Stout, Mark Hicks, some of them guys like yourself that's been around. You've seen the sacrifice at the highest level that the guys are willing to make just to maintain it.
I've seen a bunch of Bass Pros in tears at a gas station because they can't fill their truck up to get home. Yep. I've seen that. I've seen guys break down behind stages because they fell a couple ounces short at the scales. And it's a heartbreaking sport.
Yep.
And when you consider that if you're the best in the business, you might win 5% of the tournaments, Jenner.
So if you was a baseball player, you wouldn't even make the little league team. If you're, think about that. I do that as a public speaker. I said, think about it. I said, if you do it as a batting average, Kevin Van Dam had the highest average in the world. He probably wasn't batting 75.
No, yeah,
but he was the greatest in the world.
Best in the world.
I said, so you look at that percentage of your failure versus your winnings. It tells you where you got to be mentally, and how emotional it can be, and how close. And I tell my nephew this: no matter how hard you work, it doesn't mean you deserve it. So if you think you're going to outwork everybody and you deserve it, that God's just going to, or something's just going to give it to you, it don't work that way.
It does not.
But when it's your time, JT, it's your time. I promise you, when it's your time and it happens, you're going to think you can't make it undo it.
I don't mean to put JT on the spot here, but you mentioned your school, Montevallo, and obviously a fabulous fishing program. What are the college programs out there? And obviously you can speak to Montevallo. What are they doing to teach you guys about the off-the-water work of a Bass Pro? Because I'll tell you, you're sitting next to one of the very best. And Kevin Van Dam was one of the best,
too.
One
of the best. Work you to death.
I
made it a personal goal to try to outwork him. And I'll tell you some jokes on him, JT. We do writers' conferences, and I knew KVD hated for somebody to outwork him. And I would intentionally get there before him and stay later, just to piss him off.
That would do it.
And it would drive him crazy that he couldn't do, but I learned from that.
Yeah, off the water, I mean, it's just work as hard as you can and get better as you can. William Crawford, coach there, he always tells you, fish as hard as you can, daylight to dark it. He goes, make it a pride that when those Montevallo boats show up, that you're the first one to the lake and you're the last one off. He said, that's all you, give it all you got and let the chips fall where they fall,
Well, I was talking more about the business element of it.
Okay.
Because guys
once you back the boat in the garage, then that whole next level of work starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you do when you're driving to the next venue to get on the phone maybe with a fishing writer or a sponsor or a media person to help promote the brand? Because I'm going to gamble here and say that Gerald will agree with me. More than 50% of your job is kind of as a salesman, selling yourself, selling your products, selling your sponsors' products, promoting them, giving them a good name in the industry, that kind of stuff.
Which explains why there's never been an agency workout in the sport. A lot of people say, why don't you have agencies? I said, when I went in there to talk to Teresa Johnson and Gary Clowes at Phoenix, I don't need somebody else to sell myself. I can do it better than a salesman. And if they want to know that you want to represent their product, JT, they want to hear you speak. So if you can't sell yourself to them, how can you sell their boat to an arena?
Yeah, you got to make them believe that
you got to make it, and you got to be able to speak to them. And that's why people say, "Man, y'all need an agent." No, we don't. This is a handshake one-on-one.
So true, but it doesn't mean that marketing skills aren't critical. Because this man's got marketing skills like crazy.
Best of the best.
Mike I watch a lot of TV. Iaconelli.
Iaconelli is a genius at it. Van Dam has been. Well, Van Dam, I don't mean to take anything away from Kevin. You'll know how to take this. But Van Dam won everything in sight.
Yep.
He didn't have to be as good at marketing as he happens to be.
No, when you win that much, you're going to buy Red Eye Shad whether you like them or not.
Exactly.
Because I never did like it, but he beat me so much with it, ended up buying a tackle box full of them. I'm like, well, hell, they got to be good. I'm going to get one. You know.
Kevin was was the best on the water, perhaps, and one of the very best off the water. But anyway, when you think about your future as a Bass Pro, because I know that's something you want to pursue, do you think about the marketing end of it?
Absolutely. You're always looking for sponsors and somebody else to bring on, and I feel like you don't want to push the button too far, but you always got to be looking, and you never know who you're going to meet. It could be a big construction company, or it could be Phoenix Boats.
And you never know where it's going to be at. It could be in this cafe. It's what I've learned the hard way. And I try to teach my nephew. I'm like, son, when you go out, you never know who you're going to sit by. I said, I've met some of the most important people in my life just having a drink at the end of ICAST at the bar. It had nothing to do with that. Me and my wife just sit down exhausted, and somebody sit down beside you, and you come to find out. That's where the relationship starts. So I said, always be on guard when you're around somebody to be thinking, Don't use anybody but be listening. You don't even have to say yes. If they say, hey, you interested? I'm interested to talk to anybody. And that's the hard part. I would love to get inside the college mind and know about what they do on and off the water because, like, running social media, well, hell, I'm tired. I come in tonight and I told my wife, I said, I ain't posted in 3 days. That's not good. But I was so exhausted, daylight dark, but that's the stuff that you have to break the habit. You're like, listen, I got to sit down out here on the water. I got to make a video. You got to stay relevant. You got to grow that. And it sucks. But at your age, you're young enough to start it now, but it doesn't happen overnight. Some guys think, well, I've been working hard on social media for 2 years. I've been working hard for 22 years on it. It takes a while, but it is your biggest asset for someone his age. To start YouTube, and they don't have to be fancy. Everybody thinks, I'm going to get me a camera guy. No, you ain't got to do all that. Just be you.
I feel like we're ganging up on you.
I want to know more about what he thinks it's going to take to win here, but we was talking business there, but I mean.
I want to say, everything Gerald is saying brings up something that's kind of near and dear to my heart about this or that, but he's speaking the truth, obviously. He's
one of the things I hear more, JT, from people from pro anglers at the highest level, from writers. Anglers won't call them back.
Oh, anglers never initiate. I'll go a step further and tell you that I can count on one hand the times an angler has called me and said, hey, I got a great idea for a story.
Yep.
Doesn't happen.
And most of them I hear from Hicks and Ken, and you just get to talk to these writers that's been out here. And, dude, they are the grandfathers writing. Just call them back. And if you're too busy, just text and say, hey, Ken, I'm tied up with family business. I can't call you. At least he knows that you're thinking that you didn't forget him. And I hear that all the time. I'm thinking, have your wife call him back, because that's your lifeline.
Communication is key.
Well, it is, and it's your future. Because if a guy knows that you have a great mannerism, you're super respectful, when Ken needs a story in Alabama, who you think he's going to call? He's like, I'm going to call that young kid, JT. I really like working with him. He's going to originally think about you. My wife's been so weird with it. She sends the writers that we work with all the time candy for Christmas every year, just to say thank you,
Well, Gerald started in this business at an interesting time. Back when Gerald started, the magazines and the print world were still really big.
King.
They were king. And
I wasn't even born yet.
No,
you could have gone.
You could have
gone all night. You could have gone all night with
telling me again how old we are.
Yeah. But what happened was it changed, and Gerald had great relationships with people, and so he was doing well right out of the gate. But then things changed, and it became more of a video game. Well, who's better on camera than this guy? And then it changed where you had to create your own content, and this guy doesn't. So it used to be that the league could make a star, but not anymore. And I say that.
You could take JT's performance. You could follow him all year and take his tournaments, take his background, and by the time you wrote that and articulated his story, his fan base would grow just like that because you could tell the story of a kid who come from construction, been working in a junkyard, been fishing this. All right, so then all of a sudden everybody, when they meet you, they automatically know, hey, that's that old blue-collar kid, I like him.
Yeah, that's the guy killer with the swim jig.
Now that's really hard to tell your story because you have to do it on social media yourself, and then it's hard to do that, be creative and not be boastful. That's the hardest thing.
That is very hard because, that's where a writer helps. Because I can say, J.T. Russell's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's hard for J.T. Russell to say that. But I guess one of the points I want to make here is you can't rely on the league to make you a star anymore. You have to do so much of it yourself because where it used to be, there was BASS and there was FLW and now there's MLF and NPFL. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a billion YouTube channels out there you got to compete against and so forth. So I'm looking forward to watching you and some of the other young guys in the NPFL grow that area of your business because that's going to be what's going to make you a star. I'm going to try hard to make you a star, and I'm going to try hard to help him stay a star. I think you got
something different going for you. Like for what I see is at your age, you're a sure enough grinder. You know what I mean? Like you're that jig fisherman, flipper. That's a lost art, and a lot of kids your age are going to look up to you and say, listen, it's kind of cool that he's my age and he's not just pinging a minnow. Everybody can do that, but like when they see your style, That's what I think the fans relate to. I mean, I watch people for their style, man. I would study them. Like I studied Tommy Biffle. I studied Denny Breyer, Greg Hackney. I would watch styles of people fishing, and like try to learn from it.
You may do the forward-facing sonar G, but me, this is the only forward-facing
Well,
sonar you
hey,
got.
me and Ken will tell you, this was the 1990s FFS right here. Them polarized sunglasses. You remember them Bill Dance blue blockers?
Oh,
they were the original FFS.
Yeah. Now at least you got some Sunrise Silver coasters or something you can put on and see.
Yep. But I think this league is going to help you do that because it lets you highlight that talent level of what you can do, and people relate to it.
The last chapter on forward-facing sonar hasn't been written, and I think we're going to see some significant changes in that. One thing we're definitely seeing is that the audience doesn't like it as much as traditional fishing styles. Otherwise, all three leagues would not have moved to curtail it in some way. But anyway, here's one of the other reasons I wanted to have you on with Gerald. You're in 35th place in AOY right now. You're not quite safe as far as qualifying for that 26 championship.
No.
He's very safe. He's way up there. I want to get, because Gerald's had years where everything did not work out right for him.
God.
I want him to give you maybe a little bit of a pep talk, a little bit of advice leading into this tournament that means a lot.
Hey, we needed that for last year. I was on the bubble last year.
You were on the bubble last year. It didn't happen
I
for
can
you.
give you the most solid advice because I've been where you're at so many times, son, I can't count. I'm going to tell you just like my dad told me, you need to go out on tournament day and do your damn job. Don't do anything fancy. Don't try to overthink it. Just do your damn job. Do what you know to do and fish. Because I've been where you're at, and I thought, I got to do something fancy. And at the end of the day, didn't even do my job. You know what I mean? I did a horrible job at my job, and then you find yourself 3 places out. I'm thinking, what happened to just do your job? That's the hardest thing to do because you get in that situation, you think, well, I need to run here and I need to run there. Just do your job. Just do your job. That's easy to say now after I've missed it so many times or been that close, and you're thinking it's not that.
He hadn't missed it that many times.
But you see it happening, and you're like, what was I thinking? You just wasn't doing your job.
Yeah. But he has been in tough spots where he needed to make something happen. And
you got to.
Doesn't
But there's
always
times
work
you
out.
risk it like that. But where you're at, you're in the driver's seat. You're inside the door. You just got to keep it closed.
There you go.
So you just do your job. You go out and you swim your jig, which I'm sure you're going to do. You put them in the boat. You don't. One of the things I got in trouble with early on is I would come in a tournament and I would look at the points and I'd be like, I'm here. I did the math. I got to finish 31st. Well, that's most of the time I was going to finish 29th, 33rd. I screwed myself. I set my goal and I achieved it. And guess what? I let 29 people beat me. I didn't do my job completely. I done it good enough to get to there, but I'm thinking, why didn't you just go all in?
So you're saying to approach it like any other tournament.
Just fish hard, fish like you're trying to win. Just do your job.
I did the exact same thing at Lake of the Ozarks last year when I was 40th coming in, did the math, calculated, you got to finish 40th or better or you ain't getting in. Finished like 44th or 45th. I said, God almighty, here we go. So this week whenever I come in, I said, we're close to the house. I'm just going to fish the way I know how to fish and catch a fish, win the tournament, win, lose, or draw. We're going to
fish your strength. If you're gonna get in a punching match, I always tell everybody, if you're gonna be in that punching match at that high level, you need to know what you're doing and do what you know to do. Like, don't get too fancy.
Gee, I got to say, when I was talking to JT last week about this tournament, he said he came here to win. So
I think that's what he's supposed to do. Like that, I would think less of him if he told me he didn't.
Yeah.
No matter where I finish this week, you can bet when I drove over here, as much as I've had going on in my life, and when I get in that boat, hell, I'm trying to win.
Yeah,
and Chris rode with me today from Zoom. He'll tell you, he's trying to win. He's figuring out everything he can. I ain't found it yet, but you got to have that mentality. You got to have that's that killer instinct you're looking for. Van Dam was the best at that instinct.
Oh my gosh,
he would kill you, brother. Like if he tasted pie, he'd eat the whole pie.
I've told this story before, but I saw Kevin do this multiple times. If somebody was just ahead of him or just behind him in the stand, he's going to the final day, he'd walk up to him before the launch and he'd say, I hope you catch him today because I'm going to effing wear him out.
Yep, he would mess with you so bad, dude.
Oh, he lived in people's heads.
And I've only got him like once or twice. I got him at Texas one time, and it was the best ever. He come out of the tackle store at Toledo Bend. That's the one Rojas won. I ended up finishing second. He come walking out, and he had a box, shipment. He's walking to his truck, and he goes, what's up, G? I said, what you got? He said, Lucky Cookies. And I just turned and looked at him real slow. I said, you're going to need them this week, big fella. And, dude, he took about 3 steps, and he turned and looked at me like he could see right through me, like, what? And then when I blistered him jerking, and he missed that whole bite, he come out and he goes, dude, that killed me. But he said that bothered me. And I realized then he could do that. He could get inside your head, you know.
He played back at him. I like it.
But it was hard. You know how he was. You didn't play that much because he put a whooping on you.
I got one of those cookies once, Gerald. It was good.
It really is good. if I'd have known they were his cookies, I'd have went there and got them. Boy, he did.
They were good. But JT, what are your feelings? You've put 2 days of practice in here. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I've had one good day of practice and one not so good day of practice, and I feel like that's going to be the script for Logan Martin this week is who can put those 3 consecutive days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of fishing on the Coast River back to back to back. Doing that 3 days in a row and being consistent with it is going to be a nightmare in itself. But the guy that can do it's definitely going to win.
What do you think it's going to take to win?
I think 15 pounds a day will win this thing. What do you think? I should have asked you first and made a bet.
I think 14 a day will win it. It will not be leading it after 2 days, but it will win it on the 3rd day.
It's definitely going to be some
42 pounds
to
win this thing.
It's so hard to get to 14 or 15 pounds. It's so hard. Like, you just got to have something dialed in it a little lot.
I even feel like somebody could go out there and catch 18 pounds, then they're going to bring a whopping 7 pounds in,
right.
and then have a decent day on the 3rd day. I mean, who knows? This place is.
I've caught a lot of fish both days, like an extremely bunch of fish, a lot of bites on baits that you don't normally get that many bites on. It's just like 10 pounds. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm hearing there's lots of numbers.
Lots of numbers.
Do you guys think it'll be one in 5 feet or less?
Probably.
I do.
Yeah, I fish deep a lot, just looking, some old brush piles, and I've caught some. They're the same size you catch on the bank or right off the bank.
So y'all are telling me if Brad Fuller himself gave me the power to hand you 45 pounds credit,
I'd never go out.
Yeah.
Me and Lulu, we'd make biscuits. I'd pick up dog poo. I'd follow my Weimaraner around. I'd paint her toenails. I'd never make a cast.
Yeah, ain't no way I go out there and try to beat that. No way.
I just think it's too hard, Ken, to be consistent. That this is a very inconsistent time of the year. It's a fun time of the year for me because you can make something happen. Like, you can be behind on one day, and you can be the guy that catch 17 on that one day and make a huge climb. But, like, pulling in on the spot and just sitting there and catching 15 back-to-back, that's probably not going to happen.
Is this the kind of tournament where a lot of guys check out mentally before they launch?
Absolutely.
Yes,
You look at these people, and they go out there and have a rough 3 days of practice, and half of them thinking about heading home for the everything blast off.
They're like, man, this place is tough. And I'm like, being in the Marines and trying to poop in the sand in Iraq, you know what I call it? That's tough. Fishing ain't that tough. It can be hard, but it's not the toughest thing in the world. So you have to mentally block that out and say, hey, if somebody's going to be lucky, why not be me?
I see you got your PMA, positive mental attitude. By your natures, because of what you've chosen to do as bass pros, getting out on the water 8-10 hours a day, you're living in your head. You live in your head. How do you fight the negativity?
The demons creep in. I mean, by 11 o'clock, when you ain't had them bites, it feels like there's a 300-pound gorilla snuck up behind you, and he's just choking you. I think you have to stand tall. You have to, for me, reassure yourself that this is what I need to be doing. Fish your heart out, but don't let it just get in there and ruin you. You have to stay positive, and you have to think. I'm the guy that says if I went 2 hours without a bite, I'm real close to blasting them because normally I don't go 2 hours without a bite. So I try to reverse that mindset of saying I've stopped 6 times and I ain't caught them. I'm real close to landing on them.
That's a nice perspective.
But it's a real easy to say, man, we done been to 6th place. I just don't think they're going to bite today. You can't have that. You have to try to find a positive because they're biting somewhere.
JT, what about you? How do you keep the demons out of your head?
Same thing, like I said from the beginning, I've always been a role model at G. So even been married, a few years now, and tell my wife, I was like, we got to stay positive about it no matter what. And even just going through life, you got to stay positive, not even fishing. I mean, trusting the Lord and stay positive, and it'll all work out. But, I always stay positive through the day of fishing no matter what. Even if I ain't got to fish at 2 o'clock, you always fight and claw to the end because there's been many a times I hadn't had nothing at 2 o'clock, and then come in at 3 o'clock, and it looks like it was a great day. But
Oh, yeah. People be riding. Ken will be behind stage going, listen, what happened today? You want to say, well, I was running in, and I seen some birds dive.
I've noticed that people enjoy it when I'm interviewing them more if they had a great day than if they had a lousy day. There was a day when you mentioned Denny Brower earlier. Denny Brower is a great guy. I love Denny Brower. There have been days I was afraid to interview Denny Brower. I thought, okay, he just might take a swing.
He might just punch at me. He might just punch
might not
at me.
go well for me. But I think it's great. I think you guys have a plan for dealing with the tougher times. And in a derby like Logan Martin is shaping up to be, a lot of small fish.
There's going to be some tough times.
Ounces will make up a lot of places in the standings.
What would kill somebody here, though, is somebody that goes right out there off the bat and jumps off a 3 or 4 pounder. That's the guy that's better to watch it, because that's what the biggest demon you'll fight, because if you can't put that behind you immediately, it's going to stand in front of you all day. You have to just say, hey, it's over. That's not coming back. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. It's over. But you watch it. When that happens, there's a lot of people that just run it off the road and they're done.
You know, Gerald has really ramped up his game with the positive mental attitude stuff. I think of Kevin Van Dam as one of the toughest mental guys
100%.
in the business. And one of the things that really resonated with me, G, I don't know if you ever saw it. I was watching an episode of the Bassmasters one time, and he lost a fish at the boat, and he used a bait flying out of the fish's mouth to load the rod and make the next cast.
Yep.
And I thought, how do you compete against that frame of mind?
It meant nothing. It meant nothing.
So you saw the same thing.
It was at Wheeler. Him and Jeremy Starks were fishing for first and second, and that was like the third one he lost. And when it come off, he just loaded the rod and threw it. When it's in the air, he goes, that don't happen much. It's just like it never happened. But it teaches me then, that was one thing I took from that, is that has no effect. It can't have any effect. Or if it does, it's going to affect your whole career. So if one gets it early and jumps off, it just is what it is. You know, he misses your buzzbait, it is what it is.
Well, I could do this show all night long, but I know we got to get you guys out of here. You got another day of practice, so we'll wrap this thing up here. But I'll tell you what, I know this man learned from the giants who came before him, guys like Roland Martin and Rick Clunn and Denny Brower, and I tell you, man, you're off to the great start by having this guy as a role model. I'm glad that you guys got to spend a little time here together tonight.
Absolutely, man. It's so fun for me in the NPFL that I'm getting to meet so many new people. You know, I've met them from every age group, and I love the fact that you have businessmen here that's been successful but still wanted to pursue the dream of professional fishing.
Yeah.
And think about that, Ken. I was at ICAST this year, and I challenged someone to write down any man in here that's over 30 who's chasing a dream. And they're like, what? I said, write them down. Most of them are under 30. The NPFL has been the league where that man can chase that all the way down to his age. And that's so cool because I get to meet those people. So to me, like, it's been a blessing just to hang out at the campground, meet people, do the podcast with him. I wouldn't have missed it because I'm a fan of the sport. I'm a fan of this guys. I'm a fan of everybody else's. I want to know who you are. I want to get beat by the best. But when you beat me, I want to be able to walk up and shake my hand and say, I know a little bit about this guy. He's a good dude.
That's wonderful. And I, like I said, I was kind of hoping you guys didn't know each other too well to surprise JT with his hero.
I've seen him around.
There you go, yeah. Since he was 6 years old.
It's been about 20 years. He's probably seen me running down the bank swimming a jig a bunch this week, too. I lay down at night and my hands are still shaking. My Jack Russell lays down. He thinks I'm patting him because my hand's still jerking that jig.
All right, now, in another 25 years, JT, if you have an opportunity to do something like this and to sit down with a young man who admires you and what you've done in the sport at that point, I want you to take the time just like Gerald did for us tonight.
Absolutely, and I appreciate
it, man.
It's
an honor, man. I'll tell you.
We appreciate you.
It's something that I feel like, to me, you just got to give back, and I want to see this kid go as far as he can. I mean, and let it be the top. I mean, that's what his dream is, and that's what he wants to do.
And next time, JT, hopefully you'll be on with a couple of people who let you talk.
That's right.
We got to give him a lot of advice.
That's all good. Hey,
we never get to talk about, like, the stuff you talked about, like the behind the business. Nobody really ever talks about that.
No,
you know,
true.
And it's to me, it's so refreshing because I see so many things, and I'm like, man, if some of these kids just knew where to really make the money, they wouldn't be sweating so at the next bite.
There you go. Yeah, if you're counting on winning off your prize money, living off your prize money, you've made a horrible career decision.
If you could just set your goal up that everything you win, you can put in a college fund for your children. Make that your. If I could challenge you at your age to make one goal, take the stuff that you win and use for your retirement, your college for your kids' college fund, and then be able to work hard enough to sponsor that they pay the bills. That's a hard goal to do, but think about it. If you hustle and do what I told you to do your job every day, in 5 years you'll have your kids' college paid for.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty impressive at that age.
All right, now, I'm sorry. I'm just going to ask you a tough question here. What's it like to get down to sit and visit with your hero like this for a few minutes?
I wish you'd have gave me a little heads up.
No heads up. No heads up.
Man, it was awesome. I I appreciate you putting it together and all y'all do here at the NPFL. And,
Well, it was just my crazy idea. The man made it happen over here.
You text me, I'm just going to be here. I'm just, I'm still trying to figure out how to win. I'll be out there in the morning chasing it again.
I noticed I missed a text from Gerald Swindle. Sorry, man, I was doing the show.
I told you I'm 5 minutes out because I was like, he's probably wondering. I'm like, I'm 5 minutes out.
We're good. But, guys, thank you so much. We're going to wrap this one up, folks. I've had just a blast with Derek Lehtonen and then with JT and G. A lot of fun tonight here on Roundtable. We're going to do it again tomorrow, and tomorrow's a special show also. Believe it or not, guys, I've got Kyle Welcher, Patrick Walters, Greg Hackney on the show tomorrow. Whew. Those are the three guys who have a shot at AOY.
Heavy hitters.
One of those guys is going to be taking home a gorgeous gold shield as Progressive AOY for 2025. That's going to be a lot of fun.
And this one's going to be salty because all three of them know what to do, and they've been there before.
They've been there before. I don't know if Kyle Welcher's going to give him enough slack to catch up.
He ain't. He ain't all year. I'm going to tell you, brother's pulling that string. He ain't letting no slack up.
But it's going to be interesting. Yep. It'll come down to the last day one way or another.
Yep.
And that's pretty cool. So, folks, that's it for this edition of Roundtable. And don't forget to swing by the website, NationalProfessionalFishingLeague.com. Pick up some apparel. Wear the pride. We want you to do that. Tournament begins Thursday, September 25th. We got live weigh-ins with Big Al McCullough on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 p.m. Central from Lincoln's Landing. Come on out. Meet these guys. These guys will be happy to sign an autograph for you, talk with you. They're very accessible. They're a lot of fun to hang out with. Live on the water coverage begins with Luke Duncan and Fat Cat Newton on Friday at 9 a.m. and runs until 2 p.m. Central on days 2 and 3. That's Friday, Saturday.
Swimming and
let's see, guys. I don't know what else to tell you about it, but like I said, the great show tomorrow, Welcher, Walters, Hackney. That's tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Central. It's going to be a pretty great AOY show. We will catch you then.